see as many bank-owned homes for sale now as I did when I first got my real estate license and I was first into real estate. And so this may not apply quite as often now, but I do think it's always good to take a minute and just understand if you are purchasing a bank-owned property, there are some things that are a little bit different. First of all, typically with the owner-occupied property in the state of Oregon, you're going to get seller property disclosures, which is a lot of pages with a lot of questions that the seller fills out asking about the property and the condition of different aspects of the property. And so these disclosures are actually very valuable for a buyer to feel like they understand at least what the seller understands about the property. In a bank-owned property, there's nothing like that. Oftentimes the bank really does not have a lot of knowledge at all about the condition of the property. If they do have knowledge, it's knowledge of the current condition of the property. They don't have any knowledge over the last number of years, how it's been cared for or maintained or anything like that. A lot of times with bank-owned properties, part of the reason why it's bank-owned currently is because in the past, the owners were not able to make the payments. And frequently, if the owners were not able to afford the monthly mortgage payments, frequently that means that they were not able to afford normal and prudent maintenance and repair of the property over the years. And so there may be a lot of deferred maintenance, a lot of wear and tear when you find a bank-owned property. At the same time, some people, and for a number of different circumstances, some people simply vacated the property, whether somebody passed away or had to move into assisted living, or there's any number of reasons that could cause this. But occasionally with bank-owned property, the previous owners just vacated the property and left it empty. And if a property has been empty during this whole process leading up to a foreclosure, that may have been kind of a long time. And by the time the foreclosure is complete and the bank comes into possession of the home, if it's been sitting empty and vacant for that long, there could be some problems. You know, I love Oregon. I love our wet and moist falls and springs, but for a home sitting vacant, that can really spell disaster, as moisture and mildew and mold tend to grow in these type of wet situations if nobody knows about it and addresses it early on. There can really be some problems. And so anyway, there may be a lot of deferred maintenance and needed repairs in a bank-owned property. Some of this you'll be able to see when you do a home inspection. Some of it you won't really be easily able to see. Another thing from sitting vacant or having deferred maintenance is a lot of times the systems of the property, the irrigation system, the septic system, the plumbing, the heating, the cooling, the electrical system may be in varying states of disrepair. And so it's really important with any home purchase, but definitely, absolutely, if you're purchasing a bank-owned property, it's so important to do proper home inspections and make sure that you feel very confident that you understand the condition of the home. Of course, a real estate agent can help you with so many things, but a real estate agent is not the one to crawl around under the house and let you know if there's holes chewed in the water pipes or ductwork for the heating system. The real estate agent is not the one to put a scope down the septic system and make sure it's all working right. There are professional inspectors who can investigate these things for you. And another thing about bank-owned property is the title. Typically with real estate, you would get a general warranty deed. If you purchased a home from a seller who totally owned the home and had for a long time, you would get a general warranty deed. That's kind of like the best kind of deed. Now, when the bank has come to own the home through the process of foreclosure, the deed that they can give you isn't quite as good. And there's a lot of details, there's a lot of questions. If you have any specific questions about this, you can ask the escrow officer or ask a lawyer. A real estate agent can help you with a lot of things, but they cannot draw up deeds in a different way than how they are already. And so that is kind of above the level of real estate agent. It is always important to get title insurance when you purchase the property. That is to say, if anybody else in the future comes forward and says, no, you can't purchase this property, you can't own this property, I already own this property, my grandpa left it to me in his will. If that person comes forward, and if it turns out that it's true, that grandpa left them the property in the will and somehow this was missed along the way, the title insurance can help to protect you. So make sure you get title insurance when you're purchasing property. Now, with bank-owned property, it can be a little difficult. Beyond the title insurance policy, the recourse directly against the bank if they sold you a property that really somebody else owned, that can be really, really difficult and really limited. So again, in that situation, it would be a lawyer that you would need to advise you and help you through that. It's just important to kind of know in the back of your mind that all of these things could be issues when you're purchasing bank-owned properties. And so you definitely want to do inspections on the home, on the condition of the property, on the title and the past ownership of the property. Other than that, the paperwork you use, a lot of that is exactly the same. You'll have a couple extra addendums thrown in to protect you and to protect the bank who's selling the property. Some people are starting to be concerned now that it's been a couple years with COVID and people have had drastic changes in job situations and income. There have been holds on foreclosing for so long. I'm hearing some professionals anticipate that there will be a rise in foreclosures in the future. I'm not sure about this. I feel like in Grants Pass, our property values have increased so much that right now, if a seller has to sell, they should have enough equity in their home to be able to sell and come out ahead and come out doing well. So I don't know how much this will play into the future market, but it always plays a little bit into the market. In today's market, in Grants Pass and Medford, there are so few homes listed for sale that a foreclosure home listed for sale will be almost just as valuable as any other home listed for sale, because it is the same pool of buyers looking for a home that will be looking at that home against all the others. And so for that reason, I don't think you get as much of a bargain as you may have thought you were going to get in the past when talking about bank-owned property. Your agent can help you make an appropriate offer when you find the house that you want to buy. If it happens to be a bank-owned property, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a caution. First of all, there is an advisory put out by the state of Oregon, and it's definitely worth reading. They have so much great information. It's important to make sure that your contract is written in the best way to protect yourself and your own needs. Hopefully you have a great agent to guide you through this process. If you're in Southern Oregon and you're looking for an agent, I'd be happy to help. I'm Anastasia Hendrick with Century 21 J.C. Jones American Dream. The office number is 541-476-6502. But of course, if you want to work with me, just give me a call on my cell phone. It is 541-226-6448, and I'll be happy to help you.